Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel, Diamonds and Washi. My name is Katie, and if you're new to my channel, hey, welcome. I hope you consider subscribing, and if you're back, welcome back. Today, I am here with an unanticipated, as in I was not anticipating doing one of these, a WIP and Chat for the week. So if you're not familiar, WIP stands for work in progress, and chat means we're going to chat and catch up a little bit. So feel free to whip out your whip, which has turned into a thing, and whatever project you feel like working on. Maybe you're cleaning up Christmas decor, maybe you are diamond painting or crafting along with me. Any way that I can keep you company, I am looking forward to it. So I will get into all of the details of what I'm using and working on today, but I did want to acknowledge, like, upfront that I had originally said that I would not be doing a WIP and Chat this week, and short story, I did not end up flying back to Ohio as previously planned. I'm going to get into those details in just a little bit. But first, let me give you the quick rundown of what I am working on. So this is the kit Russia with Love. This is from Diamond Art Club and is licensed from the artist David McLean. I'm so bad with artist names. Like, that's also turning into a thing for me. But I am on just like the last two columns of this one. I have my fingers crossed I will be able to finish it before the new year. And pen-wise, I'll be using two pens today. These are both pens that I unboxed in a small shop haul that you'll be seeing later this week, but you get a free sneak peek at these now. So this is from C'est Plus Beau à Tour. And I am obsessed because of all the pink, because of course. And then this beauty, this is from Madwood Turning. They're located in Slovenia. This is an incredibly unique pen, and I'd seen them release a similar blank pen recently, and I was like, oh my gosh, if she makes another one of those, I'm going to jump on it. And they did, and look how beautiful it is. It only has the single tip on this end, so I'll just save and use this for sections that I have confetti. But it just is so beautiful, I couldn't resist. Minders, these were both gifts from my wonderful friend Jacqueline. You would have seen me unbox these share them, I suppose, in my friend mail video that went up yesterday. It is currently Monday evening. And then this is a putty that is from, I know it shifts, it's not a big deal. This is from Thea's Diamonds, or Thea's Diamonds. I should really check with her and ask how she pronounces that. But this is a gingerbread putty, and I'm going to try this out in my multi-placer tonight, which I'm really looking forward to. And then I will have, actually, I'm not going to be using this tonight, I don't think. Oh, yes, I will. In one of my pens and one of my single placers, I'm going to be using, this is Not Your Mama's Mud in the scent Tinseltown. And then in my other single placer, I'm going to be using Patty Wax. This is a sample size, and this also came from Jacqueline. This tray, this is Muni made, and I think this is the color Grape Jelly. Yay, so pretty. And then this is going to be my trash drill tray. This is from Shiny Shazza. I will link to everything in the description below. Go check out some small shops and send them some love. So look at, oh my gosh, I just can't get over these minders. Let me pull back this section. I did start on this section earlier today. If I finish it, we will open up the next. Okay, go under there. There we go. All right. Trash drill tray. Let me load up this multi-placer with putty, and then we'll be good to go. So, how are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing really wonderfully, and that, oh, it smells so good. Okay, let me see. I think to load this is like a little more like malleable than some other putties I've worked with. I'm so intrigued. Anyway, I hope that your holiday season is going wonderfully and the end of your year is going well. I hope you are staying safe and healthy. Let me go ahead and just dive right into why am I here? Not in the existential sense of the question. Why are we all here? No. Why am I currently doing a WIP and Chat with you guys instead of spending some much anticipated time in Ohio with my family? Well, there are a lot of reasons. Short answer is that it has a lot to do with Micah, who's my youngest, as in too young to have his jabs, and also has the same immune system that I had as a child. And that is to say, it's garbage. So we've been keeping a really close eye on all of the numbers for all of the things. And when it came down to it, and we're watching things get just worse and worse and worse and worse, we had let my parents know that there was a solid chance. It was like on Christmas Eve, I had to make that call and tell them, like, things are just not looking really great right now. There is a possibility that we're going to have to postpone our trip. And it was Christmas morning that we made the call because we were supposed to fly out the day after Christmas. Even things like just the overall pediatric numbers in my parents' home state, they're really bad. So it was kind of like, well, even if Micah doesn't get this thing, the you-know-what, if he gets something else, places are full. And, he usually gets sick when we travel, just like I did when I was a kid. And like I said, he's too young to have his poke. The other thing that was happening that we were seeing that had us very worried was that airlines were canceling flights left and right because they had staff that were out because they were positive for the thing. So we were kind of reading the writing on the wall. Micah also had a runny nose the couple of days leading up to Christmas, and it had turned green at one point. And I just thought, I feel like in my gut, and from what I'm seeing, that maybe this is not a good idea. And so let me tell you, having to call my parents on Christmas morning and tell them that really was devastating. Like, I waited till after the kids had opened gifts and all of that, and then just went upstairs to our bedroom and called them, and then just cried for like an hour. Just really, really torn up about, like, was this the right call? Am I overthinking it? Is this really what we should have decided? And as it turns out, it was absolutely the right decision. Because just a couple hours later, I got a text from my dad. Now, on Christmas Day, they'd gotten special permission, and made arrangements for my grandmother, who lives in an assisted living type facility. They'd made arrangements for her to be able to come home, because she still owns her house, to come home for a few hours on Christmas Day, and for people to be able to come over and spend some time with her. They required, like, any family that was coming to see her to have a negative test within like 48 hours or 36 hours or something. So they were, playing everything as safe as they possibly could. So they bring my grandma home. I am not even kidding you. Less than half an hour after they brought her home for those few hours on Christmas Day, less than half an hour after that, they get a call from the assisted living facility saying that the test that she had done a couple of days prior had come back positive. So my parents had a close contact exposure and are quarantining for 7 days. Now, thankfully, my grandma is not showing any symptoms because she is fully, plus boosted, as are my parents. And so I'm hoping that they will be staying healthy. I would love any, if you are the type that prays, if you have any prayers that you would be willing to send up for my grandmother, I would very much appreciate it. She is in her 90s. She is not in the best of health. And so even though she is not currently having any symptoms, I am very, 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 very concerned that she's tested positive. So any good vibes, warm thoughts, anything that you have to send her way, I would be so grateful for. But all this to say that even if we hadn't already made the call that we were going to postpone our trip, my parents having this exposure would have sealed the deal, because we couldn't have, in good conscience, brought our 3.5-year-old back and spent a week with people that had a known close contact exposure. So that felt like, I felt actually kind of a measure of peace after that, though I much rather would not have had my grandmother with this thing. But it has given me some peace of mind. Like, I just kind of feel like, okay, I don't know if it is just coincidence or if, I don't know, if my gut was just right. I don't know. But I feel confident, at least, in our decision to stay. Now, we will probably try to go. I don't know if we're going to go in January. That would be the ideal for me. Like, traveling at a time that's maybe not as busy with travelers and whatnot. And, you know, by that point, Connor will have had his second poke and Adam and I should be boosted. And I don't know. We're going to be keeping a close eye on what the numbers are doing and kind of what the reports are looking like and all of that. Because I would never, ever in a million years forgive myself if something happened to Micah, to either of my kids. But, you know, Micah, especially because he's the most at risk, you know, I would never forgive myself. But that decision was still so emotional, so heart-wrenching, and I knew that it was breaking my parents' heart as well. And they completely understood. They were completely supportive. They had completely left the ball in our court and said, like, we're backing whatever decision you guys made. And, you know, my mom had said, she's like, I am so incredibly sad, but of course, like, we don't want something to happen. And so still, like, the devastation in her voice when I had to tell her just broke my heart. And yeah, it was, Christmas morning was very, very, very difficult because of that. And I don't know how I'm feeling at the moment. You guys know the past few weeks especially, I've been sharing super openly and vulnerably and filter-free about just kind of what's been going on with me mental health-wise. And I already know that, like, this could be a trigger for, like, a lot of emotions and heavier depression and everything. But at least for the moment, I almost feel just some relief, again, because I know that this was the right decision. And also because, in a sense, like, we've made it through the holidays. Like, we're through Christmas now, at least. And that day, like, held a lot of anxiety for me, just all the build up to it and whatnot. So even though, like, we still have some travel in our future, I think that I'll feel like it's much more manageable when I'm not trying to do that on top of all of the other Christmassy things. But I'm going to give my therapist a call and see if she has any availability this week. I'd initially told her that, you know, I'd be out of town and all of that. And I don't think she necessarily is working. My appointments are usually, like, on Fridays. And I don't know that she's working that day because it's New Year's Eve, right? Yeah. Friday's New Year's Eve. Look at my calendar. Yeah. So I'm going to see if she has anything earlier in the week, just because I think that would be smart. I'm a huge advocate for talk therapy, even though it took me way longer than I care to admit to actually get into talk therapy for myself. But I'm a huge, huge, huge advocate for it. But yeah, so I want to chat with her, work through all the feelings. But like I said, I feel like I can almost just rest and breathe. And so I'm focusing on that. I'm trying and choosing intentionally to focus on the good, to be grateful for our health and our safety, and to be grateful for things like the fact that my parents are so supportive and that this wasn't like a source of tension or conflict for us. You know, I'm just trying to focus on gratitude, like, and what good has come out of this. So, on one hand, I'm really sad that we're not getting to see my parents during the holiday season, and I'm very much looking forward to when we're able to visit, hopefully in the next month or two. But we've gotten some bonus time with Adam's parents. Now, they're in town, and I have mentioned kind of in passing before that they're moving out here. And it's going to be really neat to have family nearby, and the kids are going to love it. But we were just down visiting their house because they actually went ahead, they bought a house, and they've been coming out and doing some work on it and whatnot, and we actually got to see it, which was a lot of fun. And the kids liked, running around and stuff. And but we're getting, some bonus time with them because they're here for a few more days. And originally it was like, okay, Christmas Day is going to be the last day we see you guys, and then we're flying out. So, we're taking advantage of this extra time that we can spend with them. And I'm thankful for that because the kids, of course, love seeing their grandparents. And we got to drive down today. It's like a little over an hour, and I was unsure of how the kids were going to do, but they did awesome in the car. They were just really entertained, I think. At one point, like when we were driving down, Connor was entertaining himself. Connor's my oldest. He's 6.5. He was entertaining himself by quasi-identifying, like the cars that we were passing on the freeway. He was going like, car, garbage truck, car, like trailer, camper. And Micah was very entertained by this naturally, so Connor kept doing it. And then we've also had tons and tons and tons of rain, which for Southern California is very unusual. It's kind of a novelty, actually. But I feel like we've had more rain so far this, quote, winter, so like in the past month or two, I feel like we've had more rain in the past month or two than we had all of last winter, which is our rainy season, like November through April or whatever. We had very little last year. And it feels like we've had a lot this year, which I'm grateful for. But also, let me tell you about how Southern Californians don't know how to drive in the rain. When we were driving back one evening from their place, we passed maybe 5 car accidents on that hour drive home because it was raining. It was raining hard, and people just don't understand like how they should be driving in that. And having grown up in a place where, Ohio, where it rained often and snowed and ice and like just all kinds of weather conditions that you would find yourself driving in, I am very, very comfortable and confident driving in the pouring rain. But I have to be super aware of the cars around me because I feel good about what I'm doing, I have to be like a defensive driver, because some people will just drive like it's not raining and they'll go flying to cut you off, and it's a whole thing. But anyway, we made it home safe and sound. The kids, actually Connor specifically, he fell asleep in the car each way that day. I was like, well, it's dark, it's rainy, and he's in like a car on a freeway. Like this is like the perfect sleeping conditions. So I don't blame him. Yeah, so that was fun. As far as like Christmas Day itself goes, we told Connor that we could get up at 8:00, which somehow he listened to us. I'm afraid next year it's going to be more of a battle. We'll see. But he listened to us this year. So he came in and got us up and snuggled with us at 8:00. And then we had to wake Micah up because Micah likes to sleep in, which, again, not going to complain about whatsoever. We went and got Micah, and Adam's parents got here. We had told them that they could come over. They could just be here, for the morning. So the kids had lots of fun getting into their gifts. We didn't go overboard. I think we got like four gifts for each of them. And then, grandparents got them a couple of gifts. And It was a lot of fun. And, you know, Santa had brought some of those gifts and they had a blast. So then we made a small breakfast with Adam's parents, which I'll be curious to hear if this is a recipe that, if this is something you guys have ever had. So, like, obviously, you know, cornbread. Have you ever had cornbread in the context of breakfast? Now, specifically, how Adam's parents, I think this came from his dad's side, how they do cornbread is they will, like, bake a pan of cornbread, and then they'll cut out squares, you know, for each person, and then they will cut the squares in half and slather each side with butter and syrup, and then eat them. Has anyone else ever done this before? I had never heard of it before, but I'll tell you what, it's delicious. So I was not complaining. And then I had, you know, we were talking about, like, what do we want to do for meals and stuff. And I was so grateful that Adam's parents were so gracious when I had told them, like, you know, to be honest, like, I have not even really thought about, like, a Christmas meal for us. I just was very honest and said I felt like I haven't had the mental margin for it. And I said, I have some ideas for how we can outsource it. Or if, you know, then I was trying to, like, kind of float gently the idea of, like, or you could maybe, like, if you wanted to help me cook. And of course they were like, oh my gosh, yes, of course. So we talked through some different easy cooking ideas. And they picked up, like, a pound or two of pulled pork from a barbecue place. It was so good. Oh my gosh. And then we got some of, like, the King's Hawaiian rolls that it was like, well, you can either put the pulled pork on that or on the baked potatoes that we made. So we made some baked potatoes and had all the fixings for those. And then made green bean casserole, which is, like, kind of a go-to casserole dish for both his family and mine for holidays. And that ended up working out really well. It was really low maintenance and really delicious. So we had a Christmas lunch. Now, that was what we had originally planned on because we originally were thinking, like, well, we'll want the second half of the day to pack and get ready for our trip. And then as it turned out, you know, it was like, well, you guys are welcome to stay a little later because we're not going. But they ended up leaving around mid-afternoon, and then we just kind of went into Christmas coma, Christmas hangover mode, as I was calling it that day, where we just kind of kicked back. We didn't bother cleaning up the living room. We just let the chaos reign because there was something that was really happy about that, you know, that like very tangible reminder of, like, it's Christmas. So the kids just were happy to play with their toys. And, you know, it was such a busy morning for them. I think the kids were happy to just, like, okay, let's just kick back and hang out. And then we all crashed that evening. It was a really, really nice day, even though, like, I kind of felt like there was a little bit of a cloud hanging over my head. I was trying to be happy and in good spirits and just, again, focus on, like, okay, here are the things that are going well and that I am grateful for. And I think that helped. The day after Christmas, we were all still totally feeling like that Christmas hangover, and not like there was not actual alcohol involved. It's more just like that, oh my gosh, my brain hurts and my emotions are fried. I'm mentally fried, just from, like, there's so much build up to the holidays. And then when it's over, you're like, okay, time to crash. I don't know if you guys are like that as well, but that was definitely the feeling that I had. And so I don't think we even left the house the day after Christmas, except we did pick up dinner because I had timed all of the food in the house, like all the groceries and all the shopping I had done. I had tried to time it so that we would run out of our groceries and that we would waste as little food as possible before going out of town. And I was not about to go shopping the day after Christmas. One, because there's crowds out there and it's crazy. And two, I was exhausted. I just wanted to rest. So we just shamelessly ate out for dinner. And today is, excuse me for yawning. Apparently I'm still tired. Today's the 27th. It's Monday. Yeah, the 27th. And we went down and spent some time with Adam's parents again today. Now, I have a story for you guys. This is my A+ parenting, plus Micah. Just adding it to the book of ridiculous things that Micah has done. Okay, so we had decided, again, let's take advantage of having this extra time with Adam's parents. Let's drive down to their place. The weather is supposed to be better this time. We'll find a park to take the kids to run around. We'll spend some more time with them and get to see their place like in the daylight and not in the rain. And just spend some time together. So, we drove down and we were, hanging out with them, and they're like, okay, we found this park that we think the kids would like. And so we drove over to the park, and the kids were so excited. Connor was stoked when he saw there were 2 playgrounds there to play at, and he immediately took off. He was like, all right, bye guys, I'm gonna go play. And then we're, getting Micah out and stuff. And so the kids were playing like on, the playgrounds and having lots of fun. And then Micah looked over and saw, maybe Adam walked him over. I don't remember. But anyway, pretty close to the playgrounds, there's a pond. And there were just tons and tons and tons of birds. And Micah was really entertained because like something, not Micah actually, made the birds kind of like, not swarm, but like they decided to, like a bunch of them just like took off at once, and they were being like really noisy and stuff. So Micah goes running over because he wants to check them out because of course, like, cool, what is happening over here? And Adam had gone over with him. He got some like really fun video of Micah like squawking back at the birds. It was hysterical. But then, of course, Micah notices that like, oh my gosh, look, there's a pond. And he's saying stuff like, water. We're like, yeah, that's water. No, you're not going in. If you think you know where this is going, you are correct, but we'll get there. So they were over there for a little while. Adam was, shadowing Micah like a hawk, and Micah was, just delighted to be walking around and checking out like the birds. And again, regularly going over to check out the pond a little more closely and go like, water. He loves bath time. He loves, splashing and all the things. And then he was like, okay. And then we took him over to like the playground to play for a bit. Cause we're like, okay, we're good. Let's go play by the playground with Grandma and Grandpa and Connor. So we did that for a little while. And then, Micah was just generally like wanting to sort of get into trouble. Like he was going for, some people showed up and they had bikes, and Micah was like really interested in those, like wanted to go up and mess with them. And at one point he went over and he accidentally knocked one of the bikes over, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And Micah is fast. Again, 3.5 years old. We call him our tiny tornado. He adores getting into trouble. He is a flight risk. He is all of the things that will give you gray hairs and then some. Part of this, though, is also that I've mentioned several times before, I know I'm mentioning it again, that we strongly suspect that Micah is autistic like his brother, but it manifests differently for Micah because autism is a complex neurotype and can manifest, just like I said, really differently for different kids. And at least for Micah, he does what's called like eloping a lot is the term. And that just means that like kids will kind of just wander off or take off without like really thinking about it, where most kids, especially like at this age, like they have a filter, a sense in their brain of like not wandering off, like staying near adults, like staying in like socially appropriate like situations for themselves. And kind of going hand in hand with that is I think the phrase is like lack of risk awareness. And what that means is that often kids that are autistic or people that are autistic don't necessarily have a sense for this is something that is unsafe to do. It's that like, and Micah did this for a little while and we've taught him over time. Like he's the kind of, the way that this like lack of risk awareness can look like is kids that will just sort of step off the sidewalk into the street without thinking about it, like not thinking a thing of it, like, oh, this is unsafe. Like they just don't register like this is a thing that is dangerous, is a risk. Again, if you think you know where this story is going, you are correct. So Micah decides at one point, we've been at the park for an hour or two at this point. Micah decides, hey, I want to go check out those birds again and the pond again. And so I take off after him and I am running at what feels like my own top speed. And still Micah is like giggling and staying basically out of arm's reach. But I catch up to him and we're checking out the birds together. And he's, he found a duck. He was really amused and saying, quack, all the usual things. And I'm making sure to I have a hold on his hand. And again, he's wanting to kind of check out the pond. And so I'm holding his hand, staying between him and the pond, all that. And then Adam came over and we were chatting just a little bit. And I still am not 100% sure how this happened so quickly. But Micah got up a little bit ahead of me and then all of a sudden banks and goes for the pond. And he kind of walks up to it and he's looking back at me and saying, water, water. I'm like, no, Micah, stop. Kid walks straight off the edge and into the pond. It was very shallow there. He's fine. Look, I should preface this. He is completely fine. But y'all, I had to go fishing for my child. It was shallow where he went in. But I'm like, oh my gosh. And as soon as he hit the water, he was like, his face was startled. He was definitely like, oh, this is not like a bath. This is not what I was expecting. And he had fallen over. Again, he's completely fine. He thought that was lots of fun. But I immediately, because of course I did, I immediately jump into the pond. I mean, it was 6 inches. It was a step down from the grass to the pond. And again, it's shallow there and at that part, but probably still 6-8 inches deep. But I immediately step in and go to grab him because he looks like he might get his feet under him, but hello, I'm not playing here, and already feeling like my parenting is A+ because my child has literally just stepped into a pond. So that happened. He got soaked. Of course, I didn't bring down a change of clothes because I'm all like, hey, we're out of the diaper bag stage. I don't have to bring a bunch of stuff with me, just some snacks and call it good. I didn't have a change of clothes with me. He's soaked. Adam's parents do not have a washer and dryer at their place because the previous owners took theirs with them, and that's not an expense that Adam's parents wanted to take up right this second because they're not actually even living there yet. So there happened to be a pair of Connor's pants in the trunk from at one point when I had to do a change on him where I've been talking about Connor's having some stomach issues, and I thought, oh, maybe it's just his pants are too tight. And so at one point I had changed Connor's pants in the car, and I don't know how long ago it was. This is parent life. I don't know how long those pants were in there. A couple of weeks maybe, and had never made it out. But I found that pair of pants and I was like, this is better than nothing. I can at least change Micah's pull-up, put him into a pair of pants, cuff him, and thankfully they had an adjustable waistband, so I was able to make him work. It's cold down here. It's we were all in long sleeves and long pants. So it's not oh, it's okay, just put him in the sun, he'll dry off. No, it is cold. And he has stepped into a pond. He has decided that he is a fish or a duck. I think he decided he was a duck. Go ahead, judge my parenting. I know. I've already told this story to a couple of friends because of course I did. A couple of other mom friends, like, and including one who has a kiddo who is also autistic, and she was like, they were both super reassuring. The other has experience working with autistic kiddos. They were both so reassuring. They were like, this kind of thing happens. Like, he's fine. It's okay. This kind of thing is so common with autism. Like, you're not a bad mom. This wasn't, like, it's okay. It was a mistake. Obviously, you don't want that to happen. Obviously, you want to take whatever steps you can to, like, not let this kind of thing happen, but it's okay. Like, he is okay. You are not a terrible mother. Jury's still out on how I feel about whether or not I'm a terrible mother, but also they were, especially one side, so like Micah's fine. Like he's fine. He's absolutely none the worse for the wear, like at all. His head didn't even go underwater. Like he's completely fine. They were like, you could write a book about Micah. Like one of them was literally like, I'm starting to think you're making, like, I feel like sometimes you could just be making this stuff up. And I like sent her a video. I'm like, this is of Micah and Adam by the pond, like an hour before, when the first time that he was over by the pond. And you can see in the video, Micah keeps pushing Adam's hand away and looking like he's just going to turn and go right into the water, which is what he ended up doing for me. But yeah, no, Micah is responsible for most of the gray hairs that I have at the ripe old age of 33. And Connor was not like this. I feel like I am hyper vigilant whenever we are like in any kind of like public space like this with Micah, because he is just a flight risk. He is such a stinker. He's mischievous. Like as I'm trying to catch up with him, which this is, I think, always kind of the toss-up for me, is like, so when he decided to take off for the lake, like initially, like leaving the playground to go over and check out the birds in the pond again, I was like, there are two ways I can play this. I either sprint at top speed and try to catch him before he gets there, but if I do that, I risk him, like he loves being chased, and if you start chasing him, it's a game, and he just giggles and goes faster. And so part of me is like, it's better not to chase, because if I show him like, this is not a game that I'm playing, and I just use, the firm mommy voice, sometimes he'll just stop in his tracks, but I never know when that's going to be the case. And yeah. But when there's like safety involved, it's like, I have to get to him. Again, child is responsible for so many gray hairs and so much stress in my life. I adore him and I wouldn't change a thing about him, but I do wish that I had just a tiny, tiny bit more of my sanity from taking him in public. But anyway, so he ran around in oversized pants and shirtless. We left, obviously. Like, when that happened, we were like, all right, time to go. We'd already been here for 2 hours anyway. Like, this is clearly our cue. We're going home. But he was happy to just run around shirtless, shoeless, all the things. I am soaked from the calves down because I jumped in to get him to make sure that he was going to be able to get up and to get him out of there. And, of course, I didn't have an extra pair of shoes. And so I'm like, I guess I'm just going to turn on the heat and hope I dry off without freezing my booty off. And it was fine. I did. But, yeah, Micah was just running around. Again, epitome of wild child, barefoot, shirtless, oversized pants. He was living his best life. He was having a ball. So anyway, all's well that ends well. We came home and the kids conked out without a peep tonight. They were ready for bed. Again, and it rained the whole drive home, but we actually got to see some of the ocean views because part of the drive down was like along the coast, and that was just so pretty. So pretty. So needless to say, it's been an eventful day, couple of days, but this upcoming week should hopefully be much more laid back. I'd love to hear, like, if you want to commiserate with me, like, if you have any crazy stories about, like, your kids or heck, even your pets that are hilarious, especially, like, in retrospect like that, please share them in the comments so I feel a tiny bit less alone and ridiculous. I am one of those people that I do try to keep, like, a little journal of, like, really funny things that my kids say and do, and oh boy, Micah is going to have his own novel at this rate. He is getting closer to being able to say excavator, which is really cute. So up until recently, the way that he says excavator is bescator. It's so cute. I adore it so much. But he's graduated now to saying bescabator, and sometimes like adding in extra syllables like bescabator or bescavator. I don't know. It's so stinking cute. But that's one of those things I'm like, I want to have this on video if I can. If nothing else, I want to have it written down because it's so adorable and I don't want to forget that kind of thing. We did have speech therapy. He finally had another speech therapy session last week. There had been a delay because he had to miss a couple of sessions in November because he was sick, like had to miss school sick. And of course, I'm not taking him to speech therapy, like if he had to miss school. And then the soonest they had available after that was like a month later. So last week we did get to do speech therapy. And this was like a checkpoint session where the speech therapist was like, okay, I have to see where he's at in regards to his goals and submit to insurance for approval for additional therapy. Because I guess insurance is just a nightmare, you guys. But she's like, I'm going to try to submit for like 8 to 10 additional sessions. So that's usually the most that insurance will approve for at once. She's like, obviously, I do think that he would benefit from additional speech services, like private speech therapy. And I was like, perfect. Okay. And she said, I'm going to submit this and you should either hear from us or from your insurance within a couple of weeks, though it might be a little bit extended due to the holidays. I said, that is okay. I don't feel like that, like super sense of urgency. Like, oh no, if he misses, speech for too long, it's going to be devastating. Like, obviously it's really helpful and I want it to happen as regularly as possible, but like he's getting some speech in school and he's clearly progressing. So it's not like super dire, I suppose. But yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to get back to that in January. Speaking of January, there is, like I said, there's a possibility and the hope that maybe an Ohio trip can happen, a rescheduled trip can happen. Thankfully, the way that like most airlines are doing it now, because of that which won't be named, most of them like will let you cancel your trip up to pretty close to when you're supposed to depart. Like literally the airline we were flying was like up until 10 minutes before your departure time you can cancel. And you get, if you've gotten like travel insurance, you can probably get like a full refund. But if you don't, you at least get like a credit to use towards a flight like in the next year. And I was like, that's fine. Like we'll take the credit and we'll absolutely be traveling sometime in the next year. We can use it. So that'll either be like when we go in January or February or like, I don't know, summer trip or something. We'll use it. But I'm getting very anxious about my trip to Texas at the end of January. I just, oh my goodness, I don't know. Like, I just don't know what is going to happen with all of this. And so I'm just going to be I'm going to get like much more on it with using like hand sanitizer when I go to stores and stuff like that, and really minimizing my outings and shifting more to like drive up orders and whatnot, just because I will be so bummed if I can't do this trip in January. Of course, I'm going to make the safest decision that I need to, but I really want to do everything I can to still be able to do that trip. So we will see. I'm feeling some anxiety surrounding that, and just I wasn't expecting this to be what this winter looked like, you know. I don't think most of us were, but this is the hand we've been dealt at this point, and I'm just going to keep doing my part and trying to take care of myself and my family and my loved ones, and one day at a time. So fingers crossed, though. As far as just sort of upcoming plans in general, I am going to have some videos this week after all. I originally was thinking I would just have a couple of videos going up that I had pre-filmed, but with being at home, I kind of thought I'm just going to play it by ear. And today I was thinking, like, you know, I kind of actually really do want to do a WIP and Chat. And it's been a little while since I've been like excited, like really excited to film. That's something I had mentioned previously when I've chatted about mental health, where I was like, I just am not feeling excitement about filming, which is the first time like this has happened, like since I started my channel, and like that has me concerned. But no, I was thinking like earlier today, I was like, I really think it would be fun to actually do a WIP and Chat. Where again, I had planned on sort of just playing the week by ear and saying, I'm just going to give myself space to do what I need to do, as far as like, if I feel like filming, I will. If I feel like putting up videos, I will. If I don't, that's fine too. I will just take the time to enjoy family time and just, you know, rest, reflect, whatever I feel like I need to do. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it. But like I said, I was excited to film tonight. I think I will film. I had one of my sets of Diamond Art Club pre-orders come in, and I think I'm going to film one of those, maybe a set of unboxings tonight after I finish this WIP and Chat. Not sure what order I'll put up those videos in. You'll see. I mean, tomorrow's Tuesday, and I'm planning to have a video go up tomorrow. But yeah, I am feeling good for the moment, and I'm grateful for that. And I just have to say again, thank you for all of the kind words and messages and everything like that. I sometimes feel guilty because I rarely have the chance to respond to every single message or comment individually. I can't tell you how much I wish I could. I really, 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 really badly wish that I could write a long, thoughtful response to every single email and comment. Unfortunately, just between trying to make content and trying to actually diamond paint itself, and then more importantly, just the time and energy that my kiddos take, because they and my husband are my very first priority, of course. It leaves me with less mental energy and less just time in a day to respond to things with like the level of thoughtfulness and intentionality that I wish I could and that I used to be able to give. So please, I hope that you never ever take that personally if I haven't had the chance to respond, or if my response seems at all abrupt or short or anything like that. That's just a little bit of insight into why that is. I struggle with that a lot, and I appreciate how kind you guys all are. And the ones that I can already hear you typing in the comments, like, don't worry about it, just do the best you can. I super appreciate you guys. But like I said, I'm excited about getting some filming done and shared with you guys for this week. And I already have my notebook out, and I'm starting to just jot some notes, very, very free form, very just sort of stream of consciousness, like what would I like for 2022 to look like for me? And I always get a tiny bit wary about setting goals in a list format like this, because I'm like, this is just setting myself up to have a list of like failures or goals that I didn't meet for the year. So I'm trying to approach it with a lot less of that sort of mindset and a lot more of just the like, what am I thinking? You know, what are some things that I wish that, you know, I could do? You know, what are, if I had unlimited time and resources and everything, what are some things that I think would be really fun to do that I think that you guys would enjoy? Like, what are some personal goals that like I've had in the back of my mind that I want to just write down, to just put out into the world as, okay, let's see if this is something that I want to make happen for 2022. And some of them, you know, will be like a little bit higher priorities than others. Like I absolutely will be starting my Heaven and Earth Designs cross-stitch conversion this year. Well, in 2022. Originally, that was supposed to be a second half of 2021 project, but that's just not how it worked out, and that's fine. I wasn't going to force myself to work on this project just arbitrarily, and so that, you know, that's just going to be a next year project, and that's completely fine. But I definitely want to start that Hade conversion. I am planning on doing a thorough like year in review where I share with you all of the where'd you go? Magnet, there we go. All of the diamond paintings that I completed in the year 2021. I was just talking with Jacqueline about this, and she was like, well, this is how many I have. Like, how many are you going to have? And I said, well, if I finish Russia with Love by the new year, which I think I'm on track to do, which I just finished this section. I'm not going to open up a new section because we're about at the end here, but we're going to look at these cute horses. I'll show you guys a little bit better. Okay. I didn't even use this pen. Oh, I'm sorry, pen. So I will have, if I finish this by the new year, I think 38 completed diamond painting kits. And most of those are pretty big. There are a couple of like smaller ones, like a couple of like 30 by 50, maybe like a 40 by 40. But a lot of them are very large, and that includes like those Josephine Wall projects and whatnot. But I'm excited to put together that year in review video. It's going to take me a while. I have to go actually like track down all of these diamond paintings because they're stuffed in kind of a variety of places because I started to run out of space. So hopefully I will be able to find all of them, and I'm really excited to do that year in review. And I don't know if I'll do a separate month in review video for the month of December. I probably will, just because I don't know if I'll do like full post reviews on some of these other kits that I otherwise completed in December, and I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle of the year in review video. But I have other things in mind. Like, you guys have been asking for an updated pen stash video for a really long time, and so I'd really like to get to do one of those. I talked about this like almost a year ago at this point, where I was like, I almost want to do a stash video a month of like different things. Like I could very easily do an updated diamond painting stash video at this point, but maybe not until I do a D-stash. I want to do a D-stash in the new year. I could do a tray stash. I could do a wax stash. I could do a washi tape stash. I could just do I could do like one stash video a month. But anyway, just those kinds of things where I'm like, okay, what are some things that I've been meaning to do or wanting to do, and do I feel like this is something that I want to make happen in the new year? So we'll see. I'm just going to kind of write it all down so I have a list to kind of reference and go, okay, here are just some things that I have in mind. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Are you the kind of people that you like to goal set for the new year? Or are you like, I do better if I just treat it like it's another day, you know, like, okay, it's not a big deal because it's January 1st. It's just another Saturday, and I have to keep just living my life because I don't want to like set these crazy expectations for myself. Because you know what they say about New Year's resolutions and all that. But, it's all a balance, especially when it comes to that sort of thing in like your mental health. So you do what works for you. But yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, what should we do? It's the new year this week. So how about some kind of like confetti or fireworks emoji or something that represents like the new year to you? Yeah, just to let me know whether you made it to the end of the video. Let me know how you're doing, how Christmas was for you, if you celebrated, or if you have any fun plans to wrap up 2021. And let me know, like, if you're the kind of person, like I said, that do you like to goal set for the new year, or are you like, I avoid New Year's resolutions like the plague? I'd love to hear just what your thoughts are. So thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. I like I said, was really looking forward to doing one of these WIP and Chats, and hope that I was able to keep you company, make you feel a little bit less alone in the holiday season, which that reminds me, if you haven't had the chance to check out the Christmas premieres that Pippa Brown put together, I'll link to that playlist below. And there are some really hysterical and really fun videos in there that I think I'll kind of be going through those just to feel like I have some company over the next week or so. So definitely go and check that out. That's also a fun way to discover some new channels and content creators that maybe you haven't heard of before. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you have a really good week. Please stay safe and healthy and take care of yourselves. Please, please, please. And thanks again for hanging out. And if you made it all the way to the end and you're not already subscribed, you'll probably like it here. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell. You'll see more diamond painting content from me, more WIP and Chats like this and whatnot. And also, if you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up button before you head out, that also is super helpful for me. So anyway, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.